Hi guys! Welcome back to
RN Effect.
I'm JG.
And I'm JD.
And we are here today to talk to you about the charge nurse role.
Yes, the charge nurse role.
Yes.
Oh my gosh, JG. The charge nurse role right now is such an integral part of nursing practice today.
Absolutely.
I mean, it's always been an important role, but today, during this crazy pandemic time, charge nurses are our go-to. Anyone who can step up to that plate.
So, that means that there's people who step up to the plate who, one, probably has never done charge nurse role before. And how about new grads that's stepping up and becoming charge nurses?
Oh my gosh, poor new. I know this is a tough time for you guys. I know. My heart goes out to you. I know that JG and myself cannot sit here and compare ourselves to our new grad experience to yours.
No,
when we became new grads, we did not step into a pandemic. So I think that's one of the reasons why we wanted to talk about the charge nurse role today, because we know that so many of you are being kind of voluntold into that position today because of the nursing shortage.
Yeah. So, when I became a charge nurse, and like most people do, you kind of walk into work one day and your charge nurse is not there.
Yep.
And now all of a sudden it's like tag and you're it. Right?
Right.
So,
right.
just when you walked into work or whenever you had your first experience as a charge nurse, what did you do?
Yeah. You know, the first time that I became a charge nurse, guys, it wasn't during a pandemic, but I'll tell you what. First time I became a charge nurse, it was in the middle of a time when there was a lot of turmoil at the hospital that I worked at.
Yeah.
So there was a strike. And I came in as a traveler. And
wait, so you were a traveler and charge nurse?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yes. So anyway, I'm painting that picture for you because I think that's the closest I can get right now to a new grad being put into a charge nurse position. Because why? Because you're kind of like just being thrown into a crazy situation, right? And it's like, oh my gosh, what do I do? I'm in charge?
Yeah.
You look around the unit and it all leans on you.
Yeah.
What did you do?
So I came to work one day, and first of all, I was new on this unit. It was a unit that I had worked on before as a tech prior to going to nursing school. And then I came back to work on the unit. So while I was familiar with the unit, I had only been there a short time as an actual nurse.
Oh yeah.
So when I got there and I was like, I'm the nurse, I'm like, okay, charge nurse, I'm in. Okay, so what do I do?
Yeah.
So
So what did you do? How did you handle it?
Did was okay, who am I working with today?
Right.
So you're like, who am I working with today? Who do I know can do what? Depend on what can I depend on them to be able to do as far as their skills.
Yes,
right?
yes.
So knowing the people's skills that you're working with, knowing their skill set is super important. What about you?
Yeah. I took on a similar approach. I think the first thing that was so important to me stepping into that role, all of a sudden, well, I stepped into it and I thought to myself, first and foremost, who is my team? Who is on my team? How many nurses do I have? How many CNAs do I have? The nurses that I have, what is their skill level? Am I working with expert nurses? JG, I think the thing that helped me when I went kind of scanning and identifying who the staff was, I worked to identify who the more experienced and seasoned nurses were. Because why? Because number one, I leaned on them. Right? I was able to also, when I knew I'm making an assignment for these nurses, I would try to group the experienced with a less experienced, meaning in vicinity of each other, right? You try to assign their patients in rooms where they might be closer to each other so they can bounce off each other, right?
Right.
So that was one strategy that I took. Another strategy that I took was just sort of making sure that I did a rounding report with the offgoing charge nurse, because I wanted to know who our patients were. Like, what kind of patients are we taking care of?
Right, because that also lets you know, like, with your acuity level of your patients.
Yeah.
If you have less experienced nurses, you might want to put those patients who have lesser acuities with those less experienced nurses because they help with that balance. You'll give your more experienced nurses more of the challenging patients, right?
Yeah.
If you're less experienced nurses, you might want to give them patients that's not as sick. So that's a good strategy.
Yeah,
absolutely.
Yeah. So what would you say are the good qualities? Or I should say, what are the qualities of a rock star charge nurse?
Oh my gosh, I would tell you the number one quality that I think all of my charge nurses in the past have possessed is being a problem solver.
Yes, I love that.
Yes.
I love that.
Yes.
That is my favorite quality in when I'm on a team, being led by someone who's a problem solver, or just even working with a problem solver. Like, that I think is my favoriteest quality in a nurse.
Yeah.
You know, you may not have all the answers. May not know everything. Even just being a charge nurse doesn't mean you know everything.
Right.
But you're a problem solver. Meaning you are looking, you're trying, you're looking to figure it out. You're working with others to try to figure it out, right?
Yeah.
You're right. That is absolutely one of the best qualities of a charge nurse.
Right. I think another quality that I liked, is my charge nurse will always round on us to make sure that we're okay.
Yeah, I love that.
So like that, in the midst of all of the chaos, my charge nurses will come to me and say, "Are you okay? Are you good? Anything I can do for you, Jess?" Or giving me words of encouragement. You're doing a great job.
Yes. I feed off of that energy.
Yes.
If you're my charge nurse, I'm slaving away and I'm working my butt, as you all are right now. You know, when my charge nurse rounds on me, it's just nice to know that someone cares.
Right.
You know, if my charge nurse cares, then I feel like I have some value on this team. Right? And I'm not just a doer or just somebody to, like, you know, help carry them through their shift. Like, it's a teamwork. I love that. Teamwork makes the dream work.
Absolutely.
You know, JG, one of the questions that I've gotten a lot from new grads who have been kind of put in that position, it doesn't seem like sometimes some nurses don't understand that it's a leadership role.
Right.
How is a charge nurse a leader role?
Oh my gosh. First of all, as a charge nurse, you're a role model for your unit.
Yes.
So when you think about people who you want to work alongside or people who is a member of your team, I need to be able to display that as a charge nurse.
That's true.
That means not engaging in things that are not beneficial to the unit, right?
Yeah.
So, and not beneficial to the patients or the productivity of what we're here for, right? So, you know, it is a leadership role.
It is.
And our physicians count on the charge nurses to be a leader.
Yes.
So it is definitely a leadership role.
Yeah, absolutely. You know, as a charge nurse, you are in a leadership role. The charge nurse, JG, I think the charge nurse can really set the tone for the unit.
Yes.
Right?
Absolutely.
And I think that's what makes the charge nurse a leader. Because you can set the tone. What do I mean? I mean, you know, if you're the type of nurse who manages their day, which there are some nurses who do, who manages their day with, like, everything is alarming and it's like chaos and you're constantly stressed about everything and complaining about anything that might be going wrong, you're focusing on the wrong things. Right. And so what happens is you set that tone for everybody, right? And so everybody starts feeding off of that negative energy. And so then it just seems like the only thing that's happening in that environment is all the negative things, right? So I think you're a nurse leader because a good nurse leader will set the right tone. You remain calm.
Right.
I mean, it could be falling apart. Like, you know what could be hitting the fan.
Yes.
Which it does. Pretty regularly.
Right.
Okay. So, but stay calm. Stay calm because it doesn't change the fact that you're there together and you're gonna see it through together. It's okay. Right. So keep that coolness about you, and everyone else is gonna follow that suit.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Yep.
So, JD, if I go in and I am it today, and I am charge nurse, right, for the very first time, and I get into it, and I'm like, I like this.
Mm-hmm.
This is something that I might want to do.
Mm-hmm.
What do I need to do to like enhance my charge nurse skills?
Yeah. Great question. So, as you all know from watching our previous videos, right, I'm a director of clinical education, right? And JG is a clinical education specialist. So we are very familiar with how to help nurses enhance their skills. And so some of the things that you can do if chargers is your jam, like you went into it and you're like, oh, I want to do this on a regular basis, right? Which I promise you, many of you are going to feel that. It is a very rewarding position to be in. When you can be there for your colleagues, be there for other nurses, that is a great return on your time invested in that shift. So, how can you enhance these skills? Well, when we talk about, which I think is kind of difficult for us right now to talk about long-term goals. I know that's a hard thing to talk about right now, right, guys?
Right.
But when we talk about enhancing our skills and something you want to do more permanently, okay, number one, express that interest to your supervisor, to your nurse manager. Let them know, what? I really enjoy being in a charge nurse role and I want to continue doing more of it, right? So express that interest, right? Because now you're on the radar. And then they'll start putting you in that position more and more. Right? Okay? And then secondly, then you want to maybe perhaps start identifying some practice gaps on the unit. Right? So like an example is what if you find that on your unit you have a lot of falls?
Yeah.
Right? What do? You identify it and then you do some evidence-based research on it. You present a assessment and a solution to your supervisor, right? That's taking some serious initiative.
That's being a problem solver.
Hello. By doing that, you guys, that, number one, not only will show your level of commitment to being a charge nurse and interest in charge nurse, but you will learn from that experience too. Because when you assess and research to find a solution, you find out and discover more that help develop your skills. Right?
Right.
What do you think?
I can't agree with you anymore. I think that, setting those initiatives, joining committees, if your facility is still doing that, expressing it to your manager, and also being a mentor and a role model and precepting maybe new hires that come in. All of those enhance your skills to being a charge nurse.
Yeah.
So look for those opportunities to do that. Grow in those leadership roles because you are a leader for your unit, and people do look, and you are put in that role because someone identified that in you. It wasn't just willy-nilly. Somebody identified you as a leader. So
for sure.
Embrace on that. So JD, also let's kind of close out with letting our charge nurses know how to do some self-care.
Yes, guys.
Right?
Self-care. Look.
Yes.
Moving forward, JG and I thought it was really important for us to really start thinking about helping you all understand opportunities for self-care, right?
Yes.
What we're finding more and more, and I don't think you will disagree, what we're finding more and more is obviously the burnout levels are starting to skyrocket.
Absolutely.
Or if not starting to skyrocket, I mean, they're already kind of skyrocketing.
At the peak.
Hello, right?
Right.
So we wanted to start, so JG and I wanted to really start focusing on like, you know what, I want to help nurses, we want to help nurses find ways to feed themselves mentally, spiritually, emotionally, physically. So what you're going to start finding with us is you're going to start finding the self-care closeout with every one of our videos. We want to empower you to find ways to feed you, right? Because we know you're a rock star.
Right.
But you can't be a rock star when you've been depleted, right? You're like a cup with fluid in it, and you're pouring and pouring and pouring and pouring out, but then are you refilling that cup?
No.
Well, then how are you still giving?
Right. So we want to give you the tips that you need to pour back into yourself, to give yourself some self-care, and so that you are able to take on that charge nurse role, right? So as a charge nurse, what are some ways that you can give yourself some self-care tips when you're in that self-care role? First thing is recharge yourself.
Yeah. And you know what? by recharging yourself, I think one of the things, JG, this is so important. I think, and it's so simple, guys. I'm not about to give you anything magical here, but I'm about to remind you of something that I think makes all the difference. Hydrating yourself. Hydrating yourself.
Yes.
I know that sounds really simple, y'all. I get it. But how critical is that?
Yeah.
Think about it. You know, when you are dehydrated, evidence-based shows that with dehydration, your mind slows down. You start moving into that brain fog, right? Why are you going to try to be there for others when you've not been there for yourself? So I think number one, hydrate. Yes. You have to prioritize hydrating while you're on shift because you're running, you're going, you're thinking, you're doing, and you're rinsing and repeating. Right. So hydrate. How are you doing that when you're dry?
Right. Also, charge nurses, because that's what you are. Remember to take your breaks. Don't feel guilty about taking a break. It's super important to take your lunches. And when your nurses are super busy and they say, I don't have time to take my break right now, it's okay to say, okay, I'm going to step off the unit for a few minutes. I'm going to eat my lunch so that I can come and be prepared to help everybody else. So do that.
Why, JG, is it that we love, us nurses, like we have this hang up? Like taking a break means like, oh, I'm luxuriating and I'm being selfish. Like that's not what taking a break is.
No.
Taking a break is literally you refilling your cup so that you can continue pouring out.
Right. You know, the way I look at it, JD, is that, you know, we take care of people for a living. How is it that I'm going to have the expectation to take care of somebody else if I'm neglecting myself?
Correct.
I can't neglect myself. I can't take care of anyone else if I'm running on fumes.
Hello.
So, like, take your breaks, hydrate, and then, you know what else? Take a minute and deep breathe. Find a quiet corner. Maybe it's the med room. Maybe it's the supply closet. Wherever. Maybe it's the bathroom.
I've been there, by the way.
Oh, yeah. Me too.
I've been there.
Me too.
I've run away. Guys, when I've been working on the ICU and it's chaos, I need 2 minutes. 2 minutes, right? I reach out to a buddy. Please watch my patients for 2 minutes. And I go into that supply closet and I do some deep breathing. I close my eyes, I deep breathe, and I refocus. I love doing that.
So it's kind of like a meditation thing,
It is like a meditation thing.
So like when you're meditating, wouldn't it be nice if like you gave yourself a why chant on why you're doing this?
Yeah. Chant to yourself why. Why am I doing this? Close your eyes, take a couple deep breaths, and think to yourself, for my mother, for my family, because I can, right? It pays my bills, right? Whatever is important to you. Like why did you even come into this business, right? And whether it was for financial reasons or for the old-fashioned art of caring, whatever it's your reason, it's your why, right? It's your reason for being here. So go hide yourself for 2 minutes. Take a couple deep cleansing breaths, close your eyes, and meditate on your why chant.
Yes, absolutely. Absolutely. Well, guys, I hope you enjoyed this session of the Charge Nurse Role. Be on the lookout for our next video. We're here for you. We're going to be offering these self-care tips while we're giving you all these tools to empower yourself. So, with that being said, again, I'm JG.
And I'm JD.
And this is RN Effect. Bye.